welcome to the edition of our show. My name is Business, and we always say business means money. Stability and business mean a lot of money. I'm Narbin Nazim, with you on the Saturday night in my show, Money Means Business. And as usual, we just say that business means money, and stability and business mean money, but also there are also other variants that happened, and we've seen the last couple of years with the Corona epidemic and the Omicron variant and so on and so forth that is affecting all economies of the world. Economies are trying hard to survive and to go on, but there is a hard effect on them by the coronavirus and the variants coming out of it. Well, we are talking about tonight as the youth fourth edition finished, what happened, with our youth, what happens with our economies of the world. And this is what we're going to be discussing tonight with lots of other things, other things that I say, but let me introduce first our guest for tonight, and that's Dr. Muhammad Fahmy, entrepreneurship and business and advisory consultant. Welcome, sir, with us. Well, actually, a lot has been happening, so we're going to be talking about that from your point of view. For the most important points that you see, well, nowadays, after everything, the youth conference and the projects taking place on the local scene, the international big monetary conglomerates like the World Bank and other entities that are praising the Egyptian economy in its development despite the effects of the coronavirus.
Yep.
Okay, and then we go for a short break, after we should be coming back starting our show. Stay tuned to us, don't go away.
Dr. Mahmoud Muhyiddin, Executive Director of the International Monetary Fund, said that the average expected growth for this year at the world level will range from 5 to 4.9% globally, adding that the expected growth rate for Egypt is up to 5.5%, which is more than the global average, and this indicates that the rate's in safety. Muhyiddin expressed his happiness about participating in the World Youth Forum, pointing out that the organization and arrangement of the forum is an exceptional thing. The central bank revealed that the cost of deploying 300,000 new electronic points of sale and 200,000 QR codes amounted to about £1 billion. In May 2020, the Central Bank of Egypt launched a new initiative to activate electronic payment of payments and reduce dependence on cash as part of the precautionary measures it takes to confront the coronavirus, with the aim of effectively maximizing the banking sector's contribution to the state's plan to deal with the potential repercussions of the virus. An Egyptian-German archaeological mission succeeded in discovering a group of huge stones of two royal statues in the form of Sphinx and the goddess Sekhmet on the western bank of Luxor in southern Egypt. The Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Egyptian Antiquities, Mustafa Waziri, said in a statement that the remains of walls and columns decorated with ceremonial and ritual scenes were also discovered, as well as parts of two huge limestone statues of King Amenhotep III in the form of a sphinx and a wide necklace round the neck. The latest statistics published by the International Monetary Fund included global GDP data until the end of 2021, and the total size of the world's economies has reached about $94 trillion. As expected, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia ranked first with a total GDP of $0.8 trillion, followed by the United Arab Emirates with a total GDP of $0.4 trillion, and in third place in the Arab world was Egypt with a total GDP of nearly $0.4 trillion, and it was ranked globally 36. Bloomberg's Al Sharq Channel website mentioned that the hot bond market made Egypt one of the most preferred countries among emerging market investors who are betting on another year of big gains. JP Morgan Chase and Corporation will add Egypt to a group of bond indices this month, preparing the market to receive a flood of liquidity from money managers with passive strategies, as the high Egyptian interest tempts investors, which is the highest around the world. The Suez Canal Authority said in a statement that it aims to acquire 15% of global energy trade by 2040, compared to 8% in 2019. The authority added that the increase will come by adopting flexible marketing policies. Lieutenant General Osama Rabia revealed that the navigation statistics of the canal recorded during the Gregorian year 2021 the highest annual revenue in the history of the canal, amounting to $6.3 billion, and the largest annual net tonnage of 1.27 billion tons, exceeding all previously recorded figures. Minister Plenipotentiary Nasser Hamid, Director of the European Union Department at the Commercial Representation Authority, said that the European Union is Egypt's first economic partner, as it accounts for 30% of Egypt's foreign trade volume and receives 31% of Egypt's exports, while it acquires 34% of Egypt's total imports from the outside world. Hamid added that the value of the trade exchange between Egypt and the European Union countries, including Britain, during the past year recorded about 26.4 billion euros, of which 7.2 billion euros were Egyptian exports. The Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources stressed the importance of continuing dialogue and supporting joint cooperation between the mining countries to reform and launch the mining sector to occupy a proper position in it and contribute to building economies. The minister pointed out that Egypt is working to develop a number of mining cities through a clear vision that coincides with what the Egyptian state is currently doing in infrastructure development, which is one of the important axes in the mining sector development strategy implemented by the Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources to maximize the added value of many of the mining cities. Mining ores of economic value, in addition to the existence of production facilities and distinguished expertise in this field, and Egypt's possession of very important promising areas in the Eastern Desert.
back again to My News Business with our guest, Dr. Mohammed Fahmy, entrepreneurship and business advisory consultant. Welcome again, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you. And we're always very happy when we find that with our constant work, the government constant work, there is praise to the development of the economy.
Yeah.
The World Bank issued a statement praising the development of the economy, Egyptian economy, although that, well, everybody, all economies have been reading under the effects of the Omicron, the coronavirus, the COVID-19, and so on and so forth. These things that, we don't understand when they're going to be ending, and they're causing a lot of paralysis to the economies, the development of economies. Well, we, had the 4th edition of the Youth Summit, which is a great well, let's say meetings of the different cultures together, and well, the summits, coming here also. Well, how do you see such, meetings or summits and the effect? We've got calibers talking and youth talking about their experiences and the future and what's going on right now. This exchange of expertise and ideas, how significant they are.
Okay, well, for sure there are a lot of merits, out of summits. First of all, the engagement between our youth and our new generation with other new generation globally from everywhere, come together to discuss, to open subjects, to exchange experience. This is very well. Also, that we raise some local issues, to discuss it with the global expertise in public, which is good, because this such of open discussions create or lead to a lot of new solutions, participation from others too with us, to help us to overcome some problems, local problems, something like that. So the summit in itself, it's very nice, it's very good, however, this kind of summits usually needs other something to encourage it, beside. But unfortunately, 2 years consecutive, we have the pandemic. So the effect of the summit is not that big, maybe because this kind of restrictions, some people canceling coming to this summit for such incidents of COVID or something like that. But let us, take it backward from 2015 until now. Before the summits, Egypt has a very ambitious plan, to improve the economy. Government is spending a hell, Nothing happened like this for decades, which helps us for improving the economy, And numbers talks, because our GDP increased every year 5 to 4, 5, 6% somehow. Now we reach around $400 billion. The total GDP came from 250. So we are in improvement way.
Yes.
The only concern is the mix of this improvement. I call it, unfortunately, it's a solo game. Solo game means that the governmental play alone in this. Maybe we can see more improvement or more progress if the private sector has a significant role more than what we see now. But anyway, we are fine. Even in the pandemic, we did last year very well, and not very well. Maybe comparing to other countries. If you take it a comparative. Not a competitive, from comparing between us and others, yes, we did good, This year we started with very ambitious plans, so everything goes well, and we can discuss other points during
definitely. You mentioned a very important point, and also President Sisi mentioned it. Definitely, we have lots of initiatives and a lot of work, and the government, as you said, is paying a lot in the different initiatives, Haya Karima and more decent life, to raise the standards of living of people, and just live a dignified life to those even the very poor categories of the population. But then, like the public sector cannot do things alone. there should be the private sector also doing
Yes.
that.
Yep. Okay. Concerning Hayya Karima, this is a very ambitious plan from the government. Okay. Yes, we need to fight or eliminate this kind of poverty in our community and elevate the level of living for 30% of our community under the line of.
How would be the let's say the input of the private sector with that, because it's important, definitely no hand in hand with the government.
Yes. Okay. In fact, the private sector, according to last year statistics, employed around 70% or 75% of our employment power. So they have a big stake, okay, in game changing in any economy, okay, that we do. And also they have a variety of things. We talk about industrial, okay, and manufacturing, agriculture, other activities they do. The private sector is a huge contributor in this move. We don't see this significantly during the past 4 years. Unfortunately, we see that our government play the biggest, okay, role in this change. How far the private sector can improve or help, okay, this progress, I think from my point of view, okay, if the contribution started from 4 years between both, okay, together, maybe we have a better situation now.
But then, there is also time for everything. Maybe, they didn't start, like that.
Maybe this year, yes, because our president mentioned this, especially in this summit. Okay, maybe before the summit even. Okay, because there is a lot of arguments has been around the stake of or the competition between the private sector and government sector. Yes, the president mentioned it. Let's see this year. We hopefully, okay, this is happened. But let me tell you about another thing, because the private sectors, we have two segments. The settled business peoples with their contribution in manufacturing, production, whatever, and also we have another niche market, which is the entrepreneurs and the startups. Okay. Surprisingly, Egypt did very well last year in terms of introducing a lot of startups with new innovations. Okay, and for the last year, we had a very good positioning. We came number one in terms of number of transactions, means that we invest in a big number of startups. Yeah. Startups means innovation and new generation with the new solution. This is the environment of this terminology, the startups. This year also starting with a very motivational support and fund from various sources for startups. For instance, let me give you this number to feel the significant. Okay, 3 years ago we have only 3 or 4 venture capital companies support startups or invest in startups in Egypt. Now we're reaching around 23 different institutions and venture capital institutions investing directly in startups to encourage them to generate more solutions, innovation to our country. Summit, if we link the summit with this, okay, summit, it helped a lot in this area. Why? Because we opened the discussion with the global talents. Yes, talents and the issues, because talent bring, okay, issues bring new
blood and thinking and
exactly.
ideas, and they open other horizons.
Open, yes, exactly. Yeah. Open the horizon for our local talent. Okay, together they will make third level innovation, we can call it. That's why I see that the summit help a lot in this area more than other things, because as I said, the past 4 years, our governmental played the game alone, okay, in terms of improvement.
And that's very hard, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We thank them very much, but the only thing that we need to tell them, let the private sector play fairly, okay, with this game. It will add for sure.
Definitely.
Okay. But anyway, from my area of concern, okay, which is not concern, meaning
Your fields, actually, and your specialization.
yes, usually startups is a private environment. And the startups needs a private business, okay, for the contribution, not a governmental business, okay. Usually private sector support and encourage startups, okay, to improve, because they help, because the traditional story about industrial production operations, whatever, okay, the only disruption, positive disruption came or come to this area came from startups. Startups provide new ideas on the table, innovation on the table, new solutions, because they think about out of the box. They are young, okay, technologically they are more, okay, engaged. So we need to encourage this environment that much, but to encourage them, you have to have, okay, private sector open, okay, to give them motivation, support to improve faster. This is my concern.
Definitely. Also, you're talking about the global involvement and its own ramifications and effects on us. Definitely, we're part of the globe and global development. We're not living alone.
You are not living alone at all. Okay, actually, when we talk about the past 10 years, we came from revolution. We struggled for 3-4 years, and finally, when we came back to the track, 2014, it was globally, it's a different year, or a outstanding year, because this is the launch of the fourth industrial revolution. Globally or world, okay, launching fourth industrial, and we came from struggle, and we start
anew again.
New again, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but for a good thing, okay, this revolution, it's a technological revolution, changing a lot of things in our life. The name of this revolution, it's IoT, Internet of Things, meaning that the machine or new technologies will contribute in our life in a different way and will make significant improvement. By the way, starting from the digital age, 1960, okay, we faced, or we lived with two waves. The first wave, it was a PC. The PC, it was 85. And the second wave, it was with internet, 2000. And this is the third wave with the IoT, 2014 or 2015. And this is a big change in our life. Let me give you a different aspect about the global GDP. The global GDP increased from 2000 to 2010 from 170 trillion to 300 trillion in 10 years. Okay. However, we reached the point of 117 trillion in 200 years. You see how much the power of technology, the new thing that we live, improve the environment of business. Okay. So, and we expect, according to the World Economic Forum, okay, because the terminology of fourth industrial revolution launched or introduced to the global market from Klaus Schwab. The Klaus Schwab is the head of World Economic Forum. He is the professor that introduced this terminology to the world. We are now in the fourth industrial revolution because of this wave of technology. Expect doubling this number within 15 years, meaning that we will move from 300 trillion to 600 trillion in 2030. So we are progressing now. For your knowledge, now we're reaching around 420 trillion, and still we are increasing. We have to have a good portion in this increase as Egypt, because this is what we call it the cake, and we have to have our share in this cake.
Definitely.
Okay, and to share in this cake, we have to invest in our startups or businesses heavily to produce innovation, new solutions, collaboration with the world, because we are not live alone, as you said. Okay, if we need others to help us, we need also to help others, because we cannot only take, we have to give also. Giving means not money, we give them ideas, products, services. Okay, we have to be open for more to the world.
Are we not open?
No,
Why?
we are not open enough. We are open, but we are not open enough.
How open, how not open enough?
Okay, usually a political situation or يعني certain circumstances refrain countries to be open enough, okay, with the world. Meaning that, for example, okay, we're still afraid from certain technologies coming to Egypt. 2000 and 2010, we were afraid totally GPS sensors or GPS machines to be introduced to our market easily. It has to be with license, okay. And this is refrain people to innovate in. It's a sort of openness for the world. The second thing, okay, we refrain the drones, okay. Our countries refraining drones, okay. If you need to use the drone, you have to get license, and this limitation gives a limitation for people to work in innovation in this area. And now we have a limitation, the third limitation, we have a refraining policy, don't use cryptocurrency for it.
No, use what?
Cryptocurrency, which is...
The cryptocurrency which is on the internet?
Yes, the cryptocurrency, it's a link to a very important technology for ourselves, the blockchain technology. So working in this area, okay, doesn't mean that we will do something wrong, okay. If you will close this and don't let people to investigate, to work in this area of innovation, we will be far. Okay, for example, Emirates, okay, they use a blockchain for a lot of services in financial technology, fintech, okay, and proptech, the property technologies. Everything registers on this kind of platform. Why? Because it's open there. Okay, you can work. Okay. I don't encourage people to work in crypto. Okay, because we need to segregate two things: the crypto and the technology that generate this crypto. The technology itself, it's very helpful for our life, for the future. Blockchain is not replaceable.
Well, we go for a short break
Sure.
with a report on the perspective of the World Bank of the Egyptian economy and its
Yes.
development. Stay tuned to us. We're coming back in a moment.
The World Bank raised its forecast for the growth of the Egyptian economy by 0.5 percentage point to 5.5% in the current fiscal year. The bank attributed the growth to improving external demand from major trading partners, expansion in information and communication technology, gas extraction sectors, and gradual improvements in tourism. The expectations of the World Bank came in line with the expectations of the Egyptian government, which said in late November, "We expect the economy to continue to rise in the annual growth rate to range between 5.5 and 5.7% by the end of the current fiscal year, driven by the booming growth rates in the first quarter." On the other hand, the bank said in its Global Economic Prospects report, Middle East and North Africa issued in January 2022 that Egypt's economy is growing at a faster rate than expected over the last fiscal year, benefiting from strong consumer demand, increased remittances, and contained inflation. Moody's credit rating forecast said that the Egyptian economy achieved growth rates of 5.5% during the current fiscal year, compared to 2.8% for the last fiscal year, driven by a positive and high expected contribution from several sectors such as the technology and communications sector, health and government services, wholesale and retail, and agriculture. The foundation also expected that the contribution of the tourism, aviation, manufacturing, and building and construction sectors to economic growth would also be a positive contribution with the gradual easing of restrictions on travel and global trade movement. The economist Dr. Hassan Al-Houli says that there are several criteria that the World Bank evaluates in its estimates of the growth rates of countries, most notably domestic and foreign investments, whether they are planned to be implemented or achieved on the ground, noting that these rates are set whether the country continues to implement its plans for economic growth or not. He added that the most prominent reasons that prompted the World Bank to raise its expectations for the growth of the Egyptian economy during the current fiscal year are the significant improvement in remittances from Egyptians working abroad, the increase in Egyptian exports, in addition to the improvement in Suez Canal revenues. The value of Egyptian exports to foreign markets during the first 11 months of last year amounted to $29.87 billion. The Minister of Industry and Trade expected that the Egyptian exports for the past year would exceed the $31 billion barrier and said the figures for the month of December are still in the scrutiny stage. The minister also stressed that Egypt seeks exports worth $60 billion by 2025. One of the reasons for the World Bank to raise its expectations for the growth of the Egyptian economy is the remittances of Egyptians working abroad, which recorded their highest level ever at the end of the last fiscal year 2020 and 2021 at $31.4 billion, an increase of 13.2%. The Suez Canal's revenues also increased by 12.8% during 2021 despite the accident of the ship, as the Suez Canal revenues during the year 2021 achieved about $6.3 billion compared to $5.6 billion in 2020, an increase of $720 million. The economist Dr. Hassan Al-Houli explained that what was achieved in Egypt during the second half of 2021 was one of the most important reasons that helped the Egyptian economy achieve good growth rates despite the continuation of the corona pandemic and its repercussions on advanced economies. In terms of growth rates, Egypt's economy achieved a growth rate of 9.8% during the first quarter of the current fiscal year, the highest quarterly growth rate over the past 2 decades, compared to a growth rate of 0.7% during the first quarter of the last fiscal year. Among the fundamental reasons that the World Bank relied on its assessment of the Egyptian economy is the self-sufficiency of natural gas, and the electrical connection process with the Arab Line was good in his view.
Welcome back again to Money Means Business. And as we were talking about the World Bank and other entities, international economic and financial entities that see the developments in positive developments in the Egyptian economy, how do you see that? How do you analyze it?
Okay, now for the fourth consecutive year, okay, the reports is positive somehow about Egypt. Actually, yes, we have our annual improvement in our GDP, steady or settled. A lot of projects have been there now, okay, indicate that we are expanding and improve. The only concern is the majority of this spending came from the government. So we need to see the balance of the spending, okay, part from the government, part from the private business or private sector, and the third part, which is very important, the FDI.
Yeah.
The money comes from outside to invest in Egypt. This is the third contributor, should be there, okay, for our improvement. But the reports is very well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. But you said that most of the spendings come from the public sector.
Yes.
Well, then we're talking about the private sector right now. In order to take part in this development process, definitely, and fill any gaps that the public sector cannot get in, or doesn't have to go in.
Okay, it's a very good question. Okay, the spending from the government will be very satisfactory and very good if they put it in the infrastructure and essential foundation for the population, like education, health, okay, and security. This is the main three things, okay, that we see this spending, okay, in the place. But actually, the most of the spending of the government now is part of the infrastructure and the big part in the real estate, expanding cities, build buildings, okay. It's good and bad somehow, because we need to strike the balance in this area, okay. The government role is to spend in the infrastructure very well, yes, expend as much as you do, but don't forget education, okay, don't forget health, and don't forget the contribution from the private business with you, okay, because you are not a single player in this world. So this is the only threat that we have now, okay, but overall the situation is very well, okay. Egypt improving year by year. We have steady economy. We have future or hope about the future, because we see something new. Let me give you an example that the new cities that we have now, okay, we are planning to do a new industry or new things, okay, when we move there. We are starting, we are waiting for this move. But for the time being, if you talk about the World Bank, yes, give us a very good reports this year and last year and year before, and we are steady, alhamdulillah. Okay, and we hope, yes, to continue on this, given, as we mentioned in this important discussion, we need to raise the flag that the contribution of private business should be bigger than this. Okay.
Definitely. But then, like, if they are contributing, well, how can we govern the contributions that they have? I mean, to just, get enough contribution to fill the gaps of the areas that the public sector cannot play in. Or shouldn't play in, let's say, like...
Yes. Yeah, nothing refrain private sector to contribute. But what I mean that we need to concentrate, if we need to increase our exports, okay, we have to increase our production, okay. So statistically, that we don't have this increasing number of manufacturing every year. We don't have new products, okay, producing to the market every year. We don't have innovations enough, okay, that produce for the global market, okay, enough every year. Because our concentration in real estate mainly, If you see the spending, I think 70% of our spending, maybe this is a wrong number, but I just give example, okay, from my observation, that 70% goes for the real estate, not for, only for real estate, and the 30% in other services, okay. And we are struggling in improving or solve this, to solve the problem of education, which is very important and the game changer in our life.
Well, the Africa Cup of Nations game today with, it's announced that with Egypt versus Guinea-Bissau, that we won the match, 1-0
Okay.
in the minute 63,
Okay.
and the one who scored the goal is Mohamed Salah.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, so,
Great as usual. Okay.
so congratulations today for Egypt. And
Yes, it's a very good news. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
We've been looking for that. Forward to this, Cup of Nations. This, we scored well in it, but we need actually to do better than
Yes. Okay, we deserve, because we are always on the top of this continent in terms of, especially in the football. Okay, and this is a very good news. Thank you very
that.
much.
So this is a development. Let's say,
Yes, for
even in
sure.
sports. If we talk about development, we haven't seen, like in different sports right now. The name of Egypt in all the international arena is, like different arenas. We find that we are just, like now we're excelling
Yes.
in Egyptian names everywhere, and we are just getting higher, like gold medals or
Yes.
silver medals, and so on and so forth.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Thanks for our talents. Thanks for our ambitious sport people contributing worldwide. For instance, in football specific, this year we have around 10 or more than 10 different players in the global teams.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe after 5 days, 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay. The announcement about the best player worldwide, maybe it will be Mohamed Salah, and then okay, it will be something. We'll be very proud.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
thanks
By the way,
to
in
our-
the short list, now he is the one of 3. Okay. And the 17th of this, after tomorrow, the announcement about the best player worldwide. If will be Mohamed Salah, it will, yes, this is a
our
breakthrough.
joy and pride.
Yes, pride, 100%. Okay. This is nothing happened before.
Yeah.
Okay. 10 or 12 people, okay, from our Egyptian players contributing in the biggest teams in the world.
So here, like Egypt is contributing in the international
Yes,
arena.
that's why you will.
with its people,
Yes, when you see the Premier League of England, okay, 3, 4 different teams have our
Players.
yes, one of them the best player in the world, which is what the pride. We are very proud.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, thanks to God and thanks to the
Yes, thank
leadership.
God, yes.
When
Yeah.
things, like really we see sports development, when the leadership and the management is, progressing and getting better, then also it's reflected in sports. We haven't, we've seen like kind of degradation in sports and everything, the previous decades actually, and it started booming again,
Yeah.
which is really great.
Yes, and also we have after revolution, the 2011, something changed in our youth.
Yeah.
Okay, they became more challenger. Okay, and they have a stamina, and we didn't have this before. Okay,
They feel pride.
they feel yes, they feel they deserve to be proud.
Well, they deserve that, and they feel also that they own part of their own country and the future.
Yes.
That they did not feel that before. Now, in
Yeah.
ownership, let's do something because this is, we
Exactly.
own, something. We have to contribute to this.
Exactly.
Even, as I was discussing with, our guests in this show, they showed, even, in Made in Egypt, that's, a pride, a clothes, before. And
Yes.
some people used to go and be very proud that they bought clothes from any other country. But now it's like, well, this is cotton, this is made in Egypt, this is made in
Yes.
Egypt, our own name. And even we have, designers everywhere in the world in this,
Surprisingly, not only the cotton, the finishing of suits. Okay, you find a lot of suits.
Yes.
Okay, from the brand names, big
Yes.
brand names, made in Egypt. Okay,
definitely.
which is very.
Exactly.
We are very proud when we see it outside.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when you say, like, when they say, oh, well, you know, I got this from Egypt, and this is made in Egypt, they're very happy with it, you know.
Yes, for sure.
I remember, and I was in the United States, and, you know, had some clothes, you know, winter clothes that were really, you know, nice ones, you know, from Egypt, and they said, where is this from? You know, like I said, Egypt, you know, it's made in Egypt, and it's Egypt. Wow, you know, we thought so, it's so beautiful, you know, it's like, and so
Yes.
well made, and so, you know, it was like, you know, one feels proud of it.
Yep. We have a best cotton, best linen. By the way, we have not best labor, but we have a few best labor.
Yes.
Okay, we can capitalize on them. We can generate such them. Okay, because we have the example. We
Yeah.
can make it.
And we will, actually, you know,
Yes.
since, you know, we are aware of it,
Yeah.
youth are aware of it, so
Yeah.
it's happening, and we are just, you know,
Yes.
trying very hard.
Yes.
Dr. Mohamed Fahmy, thank you very much for being with
Right.
us. It's a
Great.
pleasure having you.
Thank you very much for this invitation, and
Thank you. It's a pleasure. A
Thank you.
pleasure. And thank you, our viewers, for being there. We'll see you again next week. As for now, God bless Egypt. God bless Egyptians. God bless our army, our white army, our police, our president. And as we quote from the Holy Quran, ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين. Enter Egypt, God willing, safe. And from the Holy Bible, Mubarak شعبي مصر. Blessed be Egypt, my people. I'm Nabeel Nazim signing off. See you next week. Goodbye for now.